Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, Florida just started having meetings on whether or not they're going to introduce that bill and vote on that bill that would basically overturn that decision in Key West to limit cruise ships, limit the type of cruise ships that can come in, limit the size of cruise ships that can come in, and limit the point that they can choose which cruise ships come in based on environmental factors. A lot of things, and they may have overstepped their goals, and it might just backfire on Key West. So here's the thing with ports, not just cruise ports, ports in general, that they don't just serve the little area where the port is. They serve the surrounding areas as well. So one Florida legislature out there has come out and said, you know what, I don't think that an individual city should be allowed to, dictate what should be a state-run environment. And they had their first meetings yesterday talking about this. And of course, the person from Representative Key West, he's an environmentalist, he's an anti-cruiser, and they make no bones about it. But for the first time in their, well, not really the first time, they've mentioned this is how they got that going, because they started really hammering the fact of cruise ships spread COVID. We don't have enough facilities, so we have to ban cruise ships to keep us safe, guys. Because, Key West has a little bit of an older community out there. And they said, look, you guys are going to get COVID. It's dangerous. Look out, look out, look out. And they kind of jumped all over that. And that's how they got the votes to go in. They really did a good job on that. I'm going to give them hats off. That was you didn't hear a whole lot about, over tourism, or you didn't hear a lot about the economy. We don't really need the economy too much of cruise ships. They don't pay as much as people who come in hotels. But man, you heard a lot about the COVID spreaders, cruise ships coming off, walking into our town and just spreading COVID to all of our citizens. We don't need that. We didn't need that. So during this meeting, that was what brought up a lot of things. And then some counterpoints came up. To the point where, they're saying that this is a very bad precedent to set, that you can have an individual city, town, district make decisions on what could basically affect the entire state as well. It'd be like an example that was given was it'd be like a town that lives on a border of another state saying that from now on, nobody from that state is allowed to drive through our state. Right, I-95, forget it. You're not allowed. We decided you're not allowed. We don't want people from your state coming into our state. And it's the town that made the decision. The town on the border, not the state, the town. You see, you can't make such a decision that would affect the entire state. And that's where the Key West might have overstep their boundaries, and that's where I think if this ends up going to legislature, they will lose, and that will get overturned. Because they didn't just go after saying, you know what, we want to limit the amount of cruise ships coming into our town. That would have been one thing. But then they started saying, we're limiting the size, we're limiting the passenger capacity, and we're going to choose which cruise ships we allow to come in based on environmental factors. So they've thrown in a lot of other things other than we just need to cut down the amount of cruise ships, the amount of people each day. And that's where now the state goes and says, you're kind of limiting this, you're limiting infrastructure, you're limiting the possibility of growth, you're limiting a lot of things. And do you have the right to do it over the state's welfare? And that's where the decision is going to come. It's going to come from what is, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, to quote Star Trek. So, I can see the people of Key West saying, we like this, we don't, if you're a retired person, you don't need the cruise ships in there, you don't have an industry that relies on tourism, the less people around, the better your town seems, right? However, if you're a business owner and you rely on that money coming in, you're going crazy saying, hey, I'm going to lose my business, I'm going to lose my home. So there's all kinds of sides to this, all kinds of options. But when it goes to the state legislature, think of how the state legislature's mind's going to work. Are they going to say, you know what? Individual places have the right to tell the state what to do. And if you word it that way, the state's going to say, no, they don't. 99 times out of 100. So we'll see what happens. If this wasn't voted on, they didn't call a vote on it, but there seemed to be an awful lot of people saying, yeah, they're overstepping. They're overstepping. And this might be turned into a bill and turned into law, and that would overturn Key West's entire system that they had. And the cruise ships are keeping quiet. They're letting the government handle it, which is a good move by the cruise ship, saying, hey, we had nothing to do with this. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. We'll see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world. Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.